Right, I will.
You check her. You watch her.
Did you write Leah? Did you write Leah?
Because today's a mess of everything. I don't have time. Today was literally 3 different sermons. And today was literally 3 different sermons. And I took 2 pages from 3 different things. There isn't any one.
Okay, you're welcome.
That was freaking. It's alright, don't worry, we'll be ready. Give me 1 more minute. Variable. Yeah, Kia, Shmarin Tzua, Kia. 1, 2. I'll let you know. I'm gonna take them down. 1, 2, 3. We're good. 1, 2, 3.
Shana Tova and welcome. As you came in, you might have seen some wonderful, colorful prayer books that our youth group 50 used to lead our younger members of the congregation. They did an incredible job. If you accidentally took one of those books, it's okay. You might enjoy it more. It has wonderful pictures, and it's a much shorter service. But when I refer to page numbers, they won't be the ones in that beautiful and colorful book. If you did not already do so, please remember on your way out to take a copy for your family of The Year in the Life of Beth-El. Those were as you came in. If you were not here last night, it means you didn't get one. And you know you're going to want this. It has our programs of our brotherhood, our sisterhood, our prime timers, our adult learning. It has the dates of our Jewish holidays. It doesn't have everything we're doing this year because it's only the end of September. But I would venture to say it has 95% of some of the big things we're planning this year. And a lot of people put a lot of work into this. I want to thank them. I want to thank our custodial staff. I want to thank the law enforcement that helps us. I want to thank our amazing choir under the guidance of John Salve and just all the musicians who've helped us. I want to thank all those who are sitting on the bima because they have to stay alert, even if the rest of you don't. And each one of them makes incredible contributions to this temple, as well as so many others who will be with us. We have a new president. That happens when you have a new year. So if you don't know Howard Bellick, get a chance to get to know him. He puts many, many hours in. He works very, very hard on behalf of our congregation. And of course, while she only has one part in the service, I do want to give a shout out, especially those of you who don't have children, our wonderful educator, Cantor Shoshana, who will be offering one piece to us during the service, and also does so much for our children in this congregation. The danger of thanking too many people is you miss someone real obvious. So I apologize in advance. I want to thank all of you, including our shofar blowers. Page 137. This first blast is without a blessing. It is a blast of awakening. And also a reminder, our prayer book has hundreds of creative, wonderful readings. Feel free at any moment to go off the page, to flip, to look, to explore, to get lost in this room or in the words of this service. Whether I officially tell you to do it or not, you should feel empowered. Shema Yisrael, Hakdusha, Shofat, Bakol, Hear, O Israel, the divine abounds everywhere and dwells in everything. Its faces are infinite. Its sources are all around us and suffuse us. The many are one. Tekiah, Shvarim Trua, Tekiah. Blessed is the soul-reaching sound of the shofar. It proclaims the purpose of this day. Blessed is community, source of joy and strength and solace to every living soul. If you flip back one page, we have the last of the Psalms, Psalm 150, a reminder of the experience as our ancestors gathered when the temple stood and every type of instrument called out to praise of God, including the sound of the truah.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Shama, Hallelujah. Kol HaShabbat, Hallelujah. Kol HaShabbat, Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Rosh Hashana is known by 5 names, at least. Quiz later, just kidding. The one we know best, Rosh Hashana, literally the head of the year. Yom Ha'orat Ha'olam, the day of the birth of the world. Yom HaZikaron, the day of remembering, the new year that provides us a chance to consider all of the peaks and valleys in our 4,000-year relationship, some would say a struggle, with God and each other. Yom Hadin, the day of judgment. We reflect on our actions and are held accountable by each of us and by God. This birthday is not necessarily and not simply New Year's Eve with more Hebrew and less champagne. It's connected to Zikaron, a time to remember where we have been individually, where we have been as a people. Deen, a day of judgment as our own personal and communal histories are weighed. It's as if someone showed up at our birthday party and said, okay, before we cut the cake, let's decide if you have earned this birthday or not. It's a celebration of our lives for sure, but so much more than just a party. How does one balance all these different demands that the day puts on us? And this is where the 5th name for this day comes from. Yom Truah, the day of the blast of the shofar. The call of the ram's horn is meant to awaken our bodies and our souls together to peer into our essence, a call to prayer, a call to action. The shofar blast cuts through the clutter, the busyness, the excuses of the past year. And yet, the piercing call of the shofar is just one of the many ways that this service and this holiday call to us. Just this past Sunday morning, I traveled to a park near the old Carswell Air Force Base with Red Goldstein and 9 of our confirmation students. For 12 years, Red has introduced our students to Tashlich in his own unique way. Tashlich is a ceremony in which some Jews empty bread from their pockets, symbolically pouring their sins into the water. Red adapted the ceremony to rice to make it more environmentally safe. As he likes to remind our students, Reform Judaism adapts to the times. But more important than what we threw in was the ceremony, as he tried to help them understand the many ways in which God speaks to them in this crazy world. On an overcast Sunday morning, standing at this small, trickling, barely waterfall, one of only 2 natural waterfalls in the state of Texas, we joined in this quiet, simple ceremony. It was not the loud rumble of the shofar we will hear later. It was more like a quiet recitation of the Shema as we emptied our hands into the rolling water and watched it drift by. Our service calls to us in many different ways, in many different voices. Some of those are louder, some of those are quieter. Some of us call us to think about the awe and majesty of the world. There are many prayers that are said early in the morning. One of them, Shochein Ad, speaks to us of the power of this moment. It calls us to attention at times with the rolling of water, at the time with something louder. Page 138. Holy One, infinite your power, radiant your glory, unbound your might, awe-inspiring your works. Ha-Melech, Ha-Yoshev al-Kisa Ram Vanisa. Page 140, our sovereign God, source of holiness and greatness, may your name be praised forever in this world and beyond. Eternal One, God of our mothers and our fathers, your strength, sanctity, glory, and dominion are deserving of song, praise, poetry, hymn, sacred chant, and blessings of thankfulness for all time and eternity. Baruch atah Adonai, El melech gadol b'tishpachot, El ha'odaot, Adon ha'niflaot, Habocher b'shirei zimra melech, El chei ha'olamim. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign of praise, source of the impulse to give thanks, crown of wonders, who desires a world filled with song and a universe of life. Page 142, we rise for Shema, remains Baruch Hu, and remains standing through Shema. Page 147, we read responsively this reflection on love as heard in the traditional prayers from this part of the service. I am the blossom pressed in a book, found again after 200 years.
I am the maker, the lover, and the keeper.
When the young girl who starves sits down to a table, she will sit beside me.
I am food on the prisoner's plate.
I am water rushing to the wellhead, filling this pitcher until it spills.
I am the patient gardener of the dry and weedy garden.
I am the stone step, the latch, and the working hinge.
I am the heart contracted by joy, the longest hair, white before the rest.
I am there in the basket of fruit presented to the widow.
I am musk rose opening unattended, the fern on the boggy summit.
I am the one whose love overcomes you, already with you when you think to call my name. All life springs from a single fountainhead. Listen, Israel, know the oneness at the heart of multiplicity. With love and reverence, bear witness to Makor Chaim. Page 150. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Listen, Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto
Please be seated as we turn to page 165. They went forth from Egypt on a single night, but next time the miracle will be different. Only two sages were walking very early in the valley, and together alone they saw the light of the morning star, said one to the other, "This is how redemption will be. The dawn breaks with a single ray of light. And bit by bit the sky is illumined until morning comes and darkness is gone. So the redemption will occur little by little, growing steadily and gradually until the world is full of light." We read together, "Do not wait for a miracle or the sudden transformation of the world. Bring the day closer step by step, with every act of courage, of kindness, of healing and repair. Do not be discouraged by the darkness. Lift up every spark you can and watch the horizon for the coming of dawn. Look closely, it has already begun." Sur Yisrael, Kuma B'Ezrat Yisrael, Uvdeichenu Mecha Yehuda V'Yisrael, Go'aleinu Adonai Tzvaot Shemo, Kadosh Yisrael. Rock of Israel, arise and come to the help of your people Israel. Keep your word by redeeming Judah and Israel. The eternal and infinite one is our Redeemer, our source of holiness. Ga'al Yisrael, the one who redeemed Israel. Page 166 we begin. We continue through 170, this call to prayer that asks if we are fully present for the work that must be done. Please rise. Page 170. Your life-giving power is forever, Adonai. With us in life and in death, we join together. You liberate and save, cause dew to descend, and with mercy abundant, lovingly nurture all life. From life to death, you are the force that flows without end. You support the fallen, heal the sick, free the imprisoned, and confined. You are faithful even to those who rest in the dust. Power beyond power, from whom salvation springs. Sovereign over life and death, who is like you? Merciful God, who compares with you? With tender compassion, you remember all creatures for life. Faithful and true, worthy of our trust, you sustain our immortal yearnings. In you we place our undying hopes. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol, wellspring of blessing, power eternal. You are the one who gives and renews all life. Please be seated. On Saturday night, I snuck in, which I love to do, especially when I'm procrastinating writing, to listen briefly to our choir, John Sylvain, our music director, and our guest musicians, who some of you heard last night as they walked through their final rehearsal for last night's service. And then our educator, Cantor Shoshana, came and arrived to practice one piece with them. A very powerful and challenging and disturbing piece, but it's the central liturgy of the Rosh Hashana day, one that we will hear in just a few moments. If the shofar is the roaring call to action, and tashlich is the bubbling voice of nature, unatana tokef is a slap in the face, the slap of our own mortality. Often the tune is insistent, intense, commanding, and powerful. This tune folds in pieces a composition by Leonard Cohen, an English reflection of the troubling theology of our Hebrew that has challenged us for centuries. And while this tune at times takes a softer, different, some would call it haunting approach, the call is no less diminished. If Tashlich calls us to know God in nature, and the shofar calls us to attention, the Unatana Tokev is a call toward the harsh and unpleasant and very real awareness of our own mortality. Somewhere we spend most of the year avoiding going. There is a myth surrounding this prayer. Some of you have heard it seen it in other prayer books, attributed to Rav Amnon of Mainz, a rabbi who lived in Germany in the 11th century. You may have heard this grim story before. The Archbishop of Mainz approaches Rav Amnon and demands that he convert. Rav Amnon asks for 3 days to consider, an important number in Judaism when one is thinking of judgment. And on the 3rd day, the eve of this holiday, he refuses and is tortured. Brought before his students with his final breath, he says, Unatana Tokef, let us prepare and proclaim the sacred power of this day, for it is awesome and full of dread. Now the truth is, we don't hear of a Rav Amnon anywhere else in any other Jewish text. Anywhere. Perhaps he comes to represent the voices of thousands and millions silenced for their faith. And in fact, there's an incredible amount of evidence that this prayer is really 1,000 years older than Rav Amnon, dating to at least 200 or 300 BCE in Palestine. But even if its message is not originally a testament of faith in that time, faith in the face of imminent death, its message is no less powerful. The Yonatana Tokef speaks to us and says, you are mortal, your life is but a gift, tomorrow is not guaranteed, and certainly not the year to come. And as you will see when you look to the English or hear it, the prayer goes into great detail. Some would suggest it's Halloween coming a little early. Many a Jew has listened to the images of God as judge, weighing life and death in divine hands, considering our future in a book of life. Many hear these words and, reflecting on their own challenges, walk out of temple and never come back. Understandably. Others, when confronted with this prayer, sit quietly in mild discomfort and say, just another fire and brimstone prayer. Doesn't really mean anything. It's religion. And I imagine the rest of us just kind of tune it out and try to move on. But Rosh Hashana does not give us one image, it gives us many. It gives us tashlich. And it soothes us and calls us to be aware of the awe of nature and the world, everything outside that we so often take for granted or forget. And in a few moments, we will hear again the shofar saying, what are you going to do? And here is the Yonatana Tokef. And the Yonatana Tokef works and dabbles in that which is most effective, but most unpleasant. Fear. The Yonatana Tokef swims in the seas of our fears. Do we really need more to fear? I will confess that there were many other versions of these remarks. And in some of them, I offered a litany of all the fears we confront every day. And you'll be happy to know that somehow at the last moment, I said, I don't think they need that. We are already paralyzed enough, afraid of the world and of each other. But the Yonatana Tokef is different than the paralyzing fear we live with so often these days. The Yonatana Tokef calls us to action. If we are given the gift of life, how will we use it? Will our fear immobilize us, overwhelm us, bring out our worst impulses, or will it implore us to do better? I need to be honest with you about Jewish history, not just the parts we like in Jewish theology. And there's a powerful concept called Yirat Shamayim, fear of heaven, fear of God. It is not an idea we may be comfortable with, but I can assure you, dozens, probably hundreds of books have been written about it. Fear of God. But unlike the fear that we experience every day, this fear is meant to be translated into awe. In fact, many say Yirat Shamayim should not be fear of God, but awe of God. If the bubbling brook won't do it and the sound of the shofar won't do it, well, darn it, think about how close you came to the edge, or how close someone in your family came to the edge, and then with that sense of awe at each day and each breath and each moment, be called to action, the fear that drives us to do the right thing. The rabbis teach us that this fear of awe, fear leads to awe. Awe, they hope, will lead to love. And love, they pray, will lead to mitzvot, to action. I still struggle with this concept. I'm not sure how I feel as a so-called modern progressive reform rabbi. I don't always teach Yirat Shamayim to young people. They have enough on their plate in confirmation. I let them know it exists. I'm not sure I have to teach them Yirat Shamayim. But I have to admit it works. Ask any parent. Don't cross the street. You'll get hit by a car. Don't cross the street or I will punish you so much you will never forget it. We want to evolve beyond Yirat Shamayim, but it works for kids. It works for a lot of our non-Jewish neighbors. And maybe it works for us. But for us, it is not a fear that leads to paralysis, I hope. The fear we face today is not a put your head in a sand hole and don't come out, an overwhelmed and exhausted fear, a fear that causes us to give up. Yirat Shamayim is the fear that says, you have had your head in the sand for too long, but now you're awake, and now it's another year. In our families, in our cities, in our world, there's so much to do. What will we do with another chance? And so, as uncomfortable as we may be, we come to the Onatana Tokef. We turn to page 174. And so let these words of sanctity ascend to you, for you are our God and sovereign. Let us proclaim the sacred power of this day, for it is a day whose holiness awakens us through deepest awe and inspires the highest praise of your dominion, for your throne is established as a throne of love, your reign as a reign of truth. Page 178. Rosh Hashana. On Rosh Hashana, this is written. On the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed.
Rosh Hashana yikatzevun uveyom som kippur yechatemun Rosh Hashana yikatzevun uveyom som kippur yechatemun Berosh Hashana yikatzevun uveyom som kippur yechatemun by fire, who by water, who in the sunshine, who in the nighttime, who by high ordeal, who by common trial, who in your very, very month of May, who by very slow decay, and who shall I say is calling Rosh Hashana yikatzevun uveyom som kippur yechatemun mivoesh umivamayim mivacherev umivachaya mivarav umivatsama. And
by brave ascent, who by accident, who in solitude, who in this mirror, who by his lady's command, who by his own hand, who in mortal chains, who in power, and who shall I say is calling? Rosh Hashana ikatevon, uveyom som kipo yechatzevon, mivarash umivamagefa, mivachaneka, umivvaskila.
Rosh Hashana ikatevun, ikatevun.
And who shall I say is calling?
But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of the decree. You are everything that we praise you for, slow to anger, quick to forgive. You do not wish the death of sinners, but urge them to return from their ways and live until the day of death. You wait for them. You accept them at once if they return. Since you created us, you know our impulses. We are but flesh and blood.
Unter Shua, unter Vila, unter Dorka, Mavirin et
Page 182. We who are mortal, our origin is dust, and so is our end. We wear out our lives to get our bread, like broken vessels, like withered grass, like a flower that must fade, a shadow moving on, a cloud passing by, mere dust on the wind, a dream that flies by. But you, O Sovereign, for you, time has no limits. Page 184, we rise for the Kedusha.
Kadosh, Kadosh,
We remain standing and turn to 202 for the Aleinu. Before you get excited, a reminder, this is one of two Aleinus in this service. The Aleinu was originally written for the Rosh Hashana additional service, and only over the centuries found its way to the end of our daily services. We remain standing even as we close the doors of the ark. We turn to page 205. We read number 2 together. Dwell on each sound of the shofar. Contemplate its meaning. Tekiah, one whole note. Shvarim truah, 3 broken notes, 9 staccato notes. Tekiah, one whole note. My return to the right path has the power to make me whole again. Tekiah, once I was whole. Shvarim truah, in the wear and tear of living, I become broken and shattered. Tekiah, metshuvah, has the power to make me whole again. Blessed are hearts that respond to the majestic music of the shofar. Blessed is the gift of life, the power of renewal that brings us to this holy day. Page 206, the blessings for the first blowing of the shofar.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lishmo k'shofar. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו והגימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Tekiah, Shvarim Trua, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shvarim, Tekiah, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah. Please be seated. Take a few minutes either to look at some of the readings on these pages between here and 2:14 or 2:15, or just to look around the room or close your eyes or just take some moments for silent reflection. Page 222. Responsively. Loving Father,
infinite in power,
gentle, forgiving,
lofty and inscrutable,
Avinu,
King,
compassionate Mother,
omnipotent Lord,
comforting presence,
fathomless mystery,
Avinu,
King,
our rock and redeemer,
life of the universe,
close to us always,
impossibly far,
Avinu, embracing,
confounding,
accepting our frailty,
decreeing our end,
Avinu,
King,
none of these are true, none of them are you. Yet we stand as those before us have stood, summoned to judgment, longing for love, Avinu Malkeinu. May these words be a bridge. They come from our hearts. May they lead us to you. We rise before the open ark.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Kamo Aleinu, Me'at Aleinu, V'tapenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kalekeve, Vekeve Raha, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kalekosai, Umasti, Me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kotvenu beSefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Kodesh Aleinu, Kodesh Aleinu, L'Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, Malkeinu, Kadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu.
Page 224. Avinu Malkeinu, we stand in awe, we draw close in love. Avinu Malkeinu, the
Power that passes through us and pervades all things.
Avinu Malkeinu, the divine that is present within us and among us. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu, we speak this sacred truth aloud. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha, we stand as one, accountable for our sins. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu, V'al Aleinu V'tapenu. We yearn for true compassion for our children most of all. Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei Debe V'cherev V'rav Me'aleinu. May we resist the ravages of illness. Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei Kol Tsar Umastin Me'aleinu. Let us summon courage to withstand our enemies. Avinu Malkeinu Kotvenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim. Let the laws of this gift of life be ingrained upon our hearts. Avinu Malkeinu Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova. May we taste anew the sweetness of each day. Avinu Malkeinu Malei Yadenu Mibirchotecha. Let us awake to the blessings already in our grasp. Avinu Malkeinu Chanenu Va'anenu Ki ein banu ma'asim aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu.
Of all our deeds, let us see their power to heal. May we save lives through compassion, generosity, and justice. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vanenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim, aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu, aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu.
As we continue together, we call up those who will be participating in our Torah service. Danae Chance, Marty Rubinson, Judy Greenman, David and Valerie Eberstein, Sandy Hollander, and of course Len Schweitzer, our reader. Page 226. We read together at the bottom. We are the people of the book. Through fire and mud and dust we have borne our scrolls tenderly as a baby swaddled in a blanket, traveling with our words sewn in our clothes and carried on our backs. Let us take up the scroll of Torah and dance with it and touch it and read it out loud. For the mind touches His word and makes it light. So does light enter us and we shine.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai.
Ve'ein kamasecha.
Malachutecha, malachut kol amim, u'minshatecha b'kol dor v'dor.
Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch, le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom. Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom.
patient, loving, and true, showing mercy to the thousandth generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, and granting pardon.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'norah Shemo. Hallelujah.
All right. Please be seated. If you wish. You don't have to. But if you want to be seated. Yes.
Yeah, really.
You can find the blessings for the reading of Torah on page 230, the blessings before and after the reading. But of course, this prayer book that loves to add all kinds of options and choices and additional material means that if you want to find the actual portion, you have to turn to page 240. So choose where you want to flip. The blessings that Judy Greenman will be reading for us are on 230. The portion that Len Schweitzer will be reading for us in Hebrew is on 240 and 41, and you can also find English there. It is the story of that fateful walk, that sign of faith, a Torah portion that has challenged Jews for centuries, so much so that there are even whole books written on the meaning of the Akedah.
Baruch hu et Adonai habarah.
Baruch Adonai habarach
le'olam bo'ed. Baruch atah Adonai habarach le'olam bo'ed. Baruch Adonai habarach le'olam bo'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bakar banu mikol ha'amin v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. ויהי אחר הדברים האלה, והאלוהים נישא את אברהם, ויאמר אליו אברהם, ויאמר הנני, ויאמר קח נא את בנך, את יחידך, אשר אהבת את יצחק, ולך לך אל ארץ המוריה, והעלהו שם לעולה על אחד ההרים אשר אומר אליך. וישכם אברהם בבוקר, ויחבוש את חמורו, ויקח את שני נעריו איתו, ואת יצחק בנו. ויבקע עצי עולה, ויקום וילך אל המקום אשר אמר לו האלוהים. ביום השלישי וישא אברהם את עיניו, וירא את המקום מרחוק. ויאמר אברהם אל נעריו, שבו לכם פה עם החמור, ואני והנער נלכה עד כה, ונשתחווה ונשובה עליכם. ויקח אברהם את עצי העולה, וישם על יצחק בנו, ויקח בידו את האש ואת המאכלת, וילכו שניהם יחדיו. ויאמר יצחק אל אברהם אביו, ויאמר אבי, ויאמר הנני בני, ויאמר הנה האש והעצים, ואיה עשה לעולה. ויאמר אברהם אלוהים ירא לו עשה לעולה בני, וילכו שניהם יחדיו. ויבואו אל המקום אשר אמר לו האלוהים, ויבן שם אברהם את המזבח, ויערוך את העצים, ויעקוד את יצחק בנו, וישם אותו על המזבח ממעל לעצים. וישלח אברהם את ידו, ויקח את המאכלת לשחוט את בנו. ויקרא אליו מלאך אדוני מן השמיים, ויאמר אברהם, אברהם, ויאמר הנני. ויאמר אל תשלח ידך אל הנער, ואל תעש לו מאומה, כי אתה ידעתי כי ירא אלוהים, אתה ולא חסכת את בנך, את יחידך ממני. וישא אברהם את עיניו וירא, והנה איל אחר נאחז בסבך בקרניו. וילך אברהם ויקח את האיל ויעלהו לעולה תחת בנו. ויקרא אברהם שם המקום ההוא אדוני ירא, אשר יאמר היום בהר אדוני יראה. ויקרא מלאך אדוני אל אברהם שנית מן השמיים, ויאמר בי נשבעתי נאום אדוני, כי יען אשר עשית את הדבר הזה, ולא חסכת את בנך, את יחידך. כי ברך אברכך והרבה הרבה, את זרעך ככוכבי השמיים וכחול אשר על שפת הים. וירש זרעך את שאר אויביו, והתברכו בזרעך כל גויי הארץ עקב אשר שמעת בקולי. וישוב אברהם אל נעריו, ויקומו וילכו יחדיו אל באר שבע, וישב אברהם בבאר שבע.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emes, v'chayei olam atah b'tukenu, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. And Judy is a past president, and Len, you have been reading how many years the Akedah here?
Oh, this may be the end of my first decade.
So many, many more. Yasher
Well,
Koach.
thank
We're
you.
honored to have both of you with us.
Okay, it's
up
an
here
honor
with
to
us.
do it, of course.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. We're going to address the Torah, page 246. Please rise. Please be seated. We turn to our Haftarah reading. You can find the blessings on 247 and on 259. The portion is on page 255. Our Haftarah reading comes from the book of Jeremiah. You can see some wonderful commentary there. It talks about the power of this journey, the power of our day, and the process of teshuvah. Page 255 and 256. The blessing is on 247. David Eberstein.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar bin v'im tovim, v'ratzah v'divreihem hanetmarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, haTorah haboher, uv Moshe avdo, uv Yisrael amo, uvin v'eh ha'emet batzedek. And then we go to page for the reading. Let's see here. Well, I got it on my paper. Where is that? Here it is. Page 255. Thus said the Eternal, a people, survivors of the sword, gained grace in the wilderness. Long ago, when Israel was on its journey home, the Eternal appeared and said, with an everlasting love I have loved you. Indeed, with a love that is faithful, I draw you near. Once more, I will build you up, young maiden Israel. You will be made anew. Once more, you will take up your drums in hand and join in the dance of the joyous. Once again, you will plant vines on Samaria's hills, and the planters will live to enjoy them. For a day is coming when watchmen will announce in the hills of Ephraim, arise, and let us go up to Zion, to the Eternal our God. For thus said the Eternal, cry out in joy for Jacob. Cry out in praise over the pinnacle of the nations. Sing and shout, and say with voices raised, Eternal, save your people, the remnant of Israel. I am here to bring them back from the land of the north, to gather them from the ends of the earth, the blind and the lame among them, women who are pregnant along with birthing mothers. They shall return here, a great community. With weeping they will come, with compassion I will guide them. I will bring them on a smooth path to brooks of water. They will not falter, for I have become like a father to Israel, and Ephraim is my firstborn. Nations, hear the word of the Eternal. Declare it in the distant islands, and say, the one who scattered Israel will gather them in, and guard them as a shepherd the flock. For the Eternal has redeemed Jacob, and saved from him hands stronger than his own. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, sur kol haolamim, tzadik b'kol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh. Hamdaber umkayim, shekol devarav, emet batzedek. Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu, v'ne'eman devaracha. Hold on a second. Ve'el hanvi'im, ve'el yom hazikaron hazeh. Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu. Lekavod ul tifaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu. Anachnu modim lach. Umvarchim otach. Yitbarach shimcha b'fi kol chai tamid. Leolam va'ed. Udvarcha emet. V'kayam la'ad. Baruch atah Adonai. Melech al kol ha'aretz. Mekadesh Yisrael. Bayom hazikaron. Amen.
In our new prayer book, the shofar service is broken into 3 parts instead of all together. It offers a different way of following the flow of the service, another option, alternative. And so we'll be coming in a moment to the next 2 blasts of the shofar. But first, a word about the shofar. Rav Kook, the first chief rabbi of Israel, makes me think of the Haftarah, which we just heard, which speaks of the ingathering of all the people as one. Rav Kook must have been thinking of that also. When, in 1933, 15 years before the creation of the state, he found himself surrounded by followers at a challenging time. Zionism was picking up steam, if you will. Jewish pioneers were arriving on the shores ready to build a new land. Hope was in the air. And yet all those present with Rav Kook knew that at the exact same moment, Hitler was gaining strength. Jews paying attention to the rising voices of hatred in Europe knew something was coming. They were just not sure how bad it could be. At that fateful moment, filled with the possibility of redemption and rebirth, but in equal fear of destruction and despair, Rav Kook turned to the people with him in the old city of Jerusalem and reflected on this challenging time. He explained that these times could be represented by 3 types of shofars, that were permissible for the blowing of the horn, the great awakening of the Jewish people. Rav Kook explained that the Talmud taught that 3 types of animal horns were permissible to use on Rosh Hashana. The best shofar was one from a ram, a reminder of the portion we just read, the binding of Isaac and the fateful walk when for a moment God and man were one. Rav Kook suggested this was the quest of the religious idealist, to be in some small way connected to God's oneness, to understand what was asked of him or her, to be awakened to a sudden radical awareness of a force greater than ourselves, to live in covenant, the shofar from the ram. The second permitted shofar, said Rav Kook, was a shofar from the horn of any kosher animal except a cow. If you're not sure why, ask the confirmation class. This shofar represented the nationalistic potential of the new land of Israel. Physical, safe, concrete, but not quite that connection to the divine that the walk taken by Abraham and God represented. A land of dust and dirt and challenges, but opportunity, potential. A shofar that represented the physical and broken world, but still the world we were called upon to build. Fallible, less than perfect, but full of promise. Rav Kook shared, as the Talmud teaches, the 3rd type of shofar, if absolutely necessary, could come from an unkosher animal. If one used this type of shofar, no blessing was recited, but it was still permissible under extraordinary circumstances. Rav Kook said that first horn was the horn of the Akedah, the horn of the call of God to us. The second type of horn was the promise of the land of Israel and all of our human aspirations in a broken world. The third horn, the horn from an unkosher animal, he said in 1933, was the horn that represented the call of anti-Semitism. It was the worst option, but Rav Kook said, in the absence of the other, it was still the wake-up call if all others failed. Rav Kook said in 1933 in the Old City, we pray that we will be redeemed by this great shofar. We do not wish to be awakened by the calamitous call of the shofar of persecution, nor by the mediocre shofar of ordinary national aspirations. We yearn for the shofar suitable for a holy nation, the shofar of spiritual greatness and true freedom. We await those shofar blasts of complete redemption. Our shofar service presents us with 3 calls. The first set of blasts, Malchuyot, the call to partner with God in the highest. And there is Zichronot, the call of our past, the memories of where we have been, good and bad, in covenant and in despair, a reminder of the ways we have lived, the blast that we will turn to in just a moment. And then there is Shofrot, the third call, the call to action. It is best to be called to action by God, good to be called to action by the national aspirations, and we would admit worst of all to be called home as a Jew because of the actions of the anti-Semite. But all our calls we live with, all our calls home, all our calls to return. As important as the type of horn is, The most important thing is to hear the call, to respond, to do, to stand up as a Jew, not to quiver in a crippled state, paralyzed by fear, not to hide, but a call to action. How will we answer the call of the shofar? The call in these troubling times. Page 267. Zichronot, the call of our past, good and bad. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, zochrenu b'zichron tov levanecha. We read together in English. God of remembrance, remember the covenant of our ancestors. We affirm it today. Remember, we are a people of noble ideas. Help us to attain them. Remember all your people, all the nations on the road to peace. Bless their efforts. Remember with mercy the binding of Isaac, the sorrow of Sarah, Abraham's words, here I am. Our memory fades, but you remember all that we have forgotten. Yes, it's your throne, where all things matter, nothing is lost. Baruch atah Adonai, Zocher Habrit. Blessed are you, Adonai. You remember the covenant. You remember us. Page 268. Kim. Ta-da! Always excellent. Wonderful. Kim factor. Page 268. The blast of the shofar. Tekiah, Shvarim Trua, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shvarim, Tekiah, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah, We turn to page 276. We rise to return the Torah to the ark, and then for shofrot, the final set of blasts of the Torah.
Odo, Hallel,
As we continue to show throat, we call up all three of our shofar blowers before the open ark, and we read responsively on 281. Summoned to battle and justice, we heard the rebuke of our prophets.
Cry aloud, spare not, lift up your voice like a shofar.
Goodness of the world, Tuvu Shal Olam, today we stand before the shofar to hear its voice of hope, resilient and strong, proclaiming freedom, promising redemption.
In days to come, a great shofar will be sounded. Those lost in the land of Assyria and those cast away in the land of Egypt shall come back and worship Adonai on the holy mountain in Jerusalem.
To speak out and never grow weary, to hold fast to the message of Sinai, to believe in a time when all life will be cherished, to work for that day and know it will come. The blast of the horn sustains us in faith. My God, Adonai, shall blow the shofar and advance in a stormy tempest. A mighty call that never stops. The shofar resounds forever.
All you who live in the world and inhabit the earth, when a flag is raised in the hills, take note. When the shofar is blown, give heed.
Page 284, the blessing over the final shofar blast. Baruch atah Adonai, shomea kol truah, amo Yisrael barachamim. Blessed are you in our lives, Adonai. You hear with love the shofar, true voice of your people Israel. And for this final blast, I think you've got it by now. Join with me in these calls. Tekiah, Shvarim Truah, Page 286, we remain standing as we turn to Elena.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, l'teinu la'yaseh reshit, shelo asanu k'nayei ha'ratzot, velo samanu k'shtemot ha'adama, shelo
page 292. At this time we acknowledge all of those stars. Stars up above, so far we only see their light. Long, long after the star itself is gone. So it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these lights still guide us. As we live our days, this is how we remember. We join together. Yitkada, Yitkada, Shemei Rabbah, Bi'alma, Tivrach, Yitkate, Bi'am, Bichmal, B'chaye Chom, U'yomei Chom, U'chaye Dochol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agalal, V'zman Kariv, V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah, Mevorach, Le'olam, U'omei Omaya, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitbarar, V'yitromam, V'yitaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yital, Shmei Kudsha, B'rivu, Le'elah, U'omei, Mikol Berchata, V'shirata, Tushbachata, V'nechata, Damiram, B'yama, V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shlama, Rabbah, Shemai, V'chayim, Aleinu, Yalol, Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom, V'imru, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu, V'chol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Zichronam Livracha. May their memories bless us as we move into the coming year. Amen. Please be seated. Okay, these are the announcements. All right, do remember to check all of the wonderful things that will be happening. First of all, the times for Yom Kippur, the other services. Poor little Sukkot gets forgotten. It was once called the holiday. But most of us aren't farmers and we're a little tired after all the praying. But Sukkot is coming, and in your pamphlet you will also find ways to celebrate Sukkot with your canine friends, ways to celebrate Sukkot with your children and grandchildren, and on and on. So do check the wonderful events that are occurring and the service of our schedules. The building opens again once more tomorrow. Several members asked for an opportunity to come and join together. If you'd like to be a part of that at 10:30, you are welcome. Our regular Tuesday class is at 11:30, and all the other events going on. We want to wish you a safe drive home, time with family. These 10 days are a chance for reflection, and so we ask. Yehi ratzon milfanecha, Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, shitchadesh aleinu shana tova umtuka. Our God and God of our ancestors, may this year be good. May this year be safe. May this year be treasured. May this year bring love. May this year be sweet. Amen.
We would all like you to join in the closing song. L'shana tova tikatehu.
Shana tova tikatehu. L'shana tova tikatehu. L'shana tova. May we go with Yom Kippur. A sweet and good New Year. Shana tova.